Well, good afternoon. Welcome to the MILO and Entering Your Own Deal webinar. We'll wait just another 30 seconds for people to log in. Thank you all for coming. We're going to make this interactive, so go ahead and put in the chat where you're calling from. Where is everyone today? We'll make this fun. We'll make this interactive. We'll give another 10 seconds, and then I'll jump right in. You are at the Structuring Success MILO, how to enter your own deals. I see Dennis, South Elgin. Welcome, Dennis. Who else? Who else is out there? Okay, cool. Well, again, I'm Jason. I'm the Director of Sales for Central Lending, and we are super excited to have you all here. Here's a little overview of today. We'll go over just some of the company's background, my background as well. We will understand the hard money toolkit, go over some common mistakes, talk about some leverage, choosing the right lender, a little bit of underwriting, case studies. We probably won't do deal or no deal. Instead, I want to show you all how to actually use MILO, how to enter your own deals. So I'm just going to check the chat to see if we have any other questions. Great. So a little bit about myself. I'm the sales director for Central Lending. You see my lovely family there. We live in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. So we are Tar Heel fans. Go Heels. It's been a good basketball season so far. I'm a Liberty University graduate. I've been in lending for a long time. This will be almost 20 years I've been around lending, first in the bank for Hancock and Whitney. I took a brief stop in the software side and then landed at Central Lending, which I've been really happy with. And there's Tally just getting after her birthday cake. So, you know, life is good when you get a big old birthday cake. A little bit about the company. We are based in Florida, but we lend in over 39, almost 40 states, mostly in the Southeast and the Midwest, a little bit on the West Coast as well. Our products include bridge loans, rehab loans, construction, and DSCR. And our company has done their own projects. We build our own houses, fix and flips, new builds in Central Florida. And we're most proud of our funding. We've recently funded over our 1,700th loan. A little bit of the numbers of the company. We've done nearly $350 million of loan originations. Our loan portfolio, so these are loans that we actively service, it's over 100 million. We manage assets, so that's investor capital that we raise, as well as those properties that we manage is over 40 million. 98% of our principal return rate, that's the borrowers paying us back. 98% have as well. And the biggest thing we're proud of is never having missed an investor distribution. 0 missed investor distributions. We think return of principal is more or most important. And then we try to make our returns on top of that competitive as well. So what's different about Central Lending? Well, it's private money. So our fund manager approves your scenario up front. I'm head of sales and your account executive, your AE, they review their deals as well. So everybody looks in on the deal. It's fast. So these loans can close as quickly as 2 business days. And usually it's without appraisal. We either use a BPO or something that's a lot cleaner and easier. And it's an easy process. So we process these in-house. We close them in-house. We do our constructions and draws in-house, all to make it a good experience for you. It's a little bit about hard money. So who might use hard money? Well, you have flippers, you have burr investors, entrepreneurs. They might have a limited credit history or they're self-employed. Buyers with tight timelines or distressed properties. And then repeat pros. They're looking for quick, reliable funding, not a lot of red tape. That's who likes hard money. Hard money is loans for real estate backed by the hard assets, so the properties that they're written for. And you can use these for fix and flips, rental acquisitions, and new construction. And the big takeaway, why go to us when you can go to the bank is it's faster. There's flexibility, but that also comes with a cost. Usually if you get the same loan from a bank, it's a little more cost efficient. When investors might use these is when they're doing fix and flips. So they have a rehab budget and they're strong margins. We want to know, is this deal going to make any money for you? Also, it's short-term and by nature. So if you're looking for a 5 or 10-year loan, probably better to use a DSCR loan or a bank loan. But if you're looking for a buy, fix, and then refinance, or buy, fix, and sell within a year or less, bridge loan is the way to go. Also for construction loans, so we do spec homes that are speculative in nature. There's no buyer when they build it, but they're confident they're going to find a buyer. Those are the loans that we like to do. And then we also like to do DSCR loans. So when the rent covers the payment, that is a great thing. It's called a debt service coverage ratio loan. So why does this part of the market even matter? Well, asset-based lending is based on the deal. So there's no income, no W-2s, no full documents. It also unlocks hidden deals. So if you find a distressed property or an urgent sale, bridge lending lets you get to it much more quickly. And it's meant for fast growth. So an investor who might have $100,000 worth of capital, they could take that $100,000 and buy properties and fix them all one by one, or they could leverage that same $100,000 and do 3 times the amount of deals. So it's meant to scale more quickly. And you just see that right there. You use leverage to scale your properties a little bit more. So I'm going to pause there, see if there's any questions in the chat. Any questions in the chat on what a hard money loan is? Okay, I'm not seeing any questions. So let's move forward. Camille, I don't see any questions from your end, so we'll keep moving forward. What are some mistakes people might make? Deal economics and viability. So it's a really big deal to us as the lender that your deal is going to make profit. If you buy a loan for 100,000, fix it for 150, or fix it for 50, and it's worth 150, that property, that deal has lost money. We want to see that A plus B equals C or greater. Insufficient liquidity. So these loans, when you buy them, really the work is just beginning. You have to pay for draws, pay for the construction on these projects. And then over leveraging. So central lending, we'll get into our leverage in a little bit, but we believe in leverage that makes sense, that it's not completely leaving no room for error. There's a little bit of cushion in there. So if you had to sell or refinance, you could do so. Using third-party comps, so a wholesaler or realtor might present to you information and say, this is a great deal, but we want the investor to be invested. We want them to look around the neighborhood and see what are other houses nearby selling for? Why does this deal make sense? And then no clear strategy. So how are you going to sell the property? Or let's say selling the property for $250,000 is the plan. Well, what's your backup plan? Could you rent the property? Could you sell it for a lower price? Some more common mistakes we see is choosing the wrong lender for the deal type. Also assuming all lenders are the same. They're not. Lenders work differently. Central lending works best in some spaces, but other lenders work better in others. Also, not being honest up front about your loan. So if there's any credit issues, any issues with the partners, maybe a foreclosure or bankruptcy, we just want to know about it. Also, how is your deal set up? Does somebody bring credit? Does somebody bring experience to the table? We want that clearly defined. Another thing that's a red flag is we will see contracts that are dated for months and months in the past. A normal deal, you have financing lined up already, or it's pretty quickly within a few days after you get your contract. And then just slow and inconsistent communication. So people ask me the question, when can you close my loan? I was given the same answer. We will close as quickly as you allow us to. Once you turn in your documents and you've properly communicated with your processor. So what are some of the risks? And usually it's the person who's operating the deal. They might be inexperienced. This might be their first flip ever, or they may have done one fix and flip and now they're ready to go buy multifamily. So it's a larger deal by nature, and we want to make sure that they are ready to handle it. There could be mistakes from a first timer. There's extra costs that you just don't anticipate. So that's why we're firm believers in having enough capital on hand. Unrealistic or poorly built rehab budgets. So part of our process is you give us a budget for your house. Photos are taken of it, and we compare the photos to the budget. And if we see that drywall is missing and then there's no budget line item to fix the drywall, then we want to make sure that you can fix that. Also, selecting your contractor or project manager. Those people are very important to you. Yeah, and then understanding the market as well. So we won't pretend to be an expert in every market. We lend in 39 states, many cities and counties throughout those states. So we don't pretend to be the expert, but we expect our borrower or the people that they're hiring to be the experts. So one example of that is the FEMA 50/50 rule. So we will see investors who want to buy flooded properties, but do they fully understand the scope of the FEMA 50/50 rule? We want to know that that's the case, and also that they've worked with flood properties before. Also, choosing the right lender. So we want to make sure that you understand where lenders fit in the market. And there's different types. So we'll start with private individuals. Each property investor should have a reliable private lender that they can go to, that they could easily get funds to, but that shouldn't be their only source. Direct lenders like us. So we raise capital from individuals. We have as many as 20 or 30 people who buy these loans from us. But up front, all the money comes directly from our account, is wired from our account. Table funding and correspondent lenders. So you have the actual lenders, you have the correspondent lenders, and you have the borrower. Each of those have a role and they fit in, but central lending is on the far left. We're the ones with the cash. Here's another example there. You might hire a loan broker. Central lending has great loan broker relationships, but where we fit in is on the far right side. You have your banks. Banks are good, especially for lower cost of capital. Typically, they take their account holder or shareholders' checking accounts and lend those out. So what info do we need for a underwriting? And I'll pause there real quick to see if there's any questions. Any questions on that? So Dennis is asking a good question. He wants to know about leverage for 100,000 for 3 deals. So what I was referring to that, Dennis, is if you have $100,000, you could buy 1 property, or instead, you could buy 3 properties, take that same $100,000, buy $300,000 worth of property, and then be able to do more deals. So you could go cash by cash or use cash for deal by deal, or you could leverage it. But that's what I was referring to. And welcome, Ed Will. Good to see you again, Ed Will. From sunny Vallejo, California. All right, we'll get into Underwriting now. So what information do we need? Well, we need it about the deal itself. We need to know the address. We need to know about the entity as well. So are you buying it with an LLC or a partnership? And then we want to know about you. And Central Lending is a storybook lender. So we're less focused on checking all the boxes, more focused on making sure that you understand the project and that you have proven yourself as a reliable property investor. Some key deal data items. The contract is really important. We want to see that those have been written pretty recently, maybe in the past days, maybe weeks. But if we see a month-old contract, 2-month-old contract, we're going to have some questions about that. Rehab budget is probably your most important one. And I understand it can be challenging if you're looking at a property. Even if you walk the property, can you really know everything that needs to be fixed? Central Lending does allow you to rewrite the budget after closing. You can move funds around. You don't have to take all the money that you're approved for, but you can't ask for more. But us seeing that you have a budget that's well thought out for all pieces of the property, those deals just tend to run a lot smoother. Property valuation. So we use a third-party partnership. They are called Richer Values, and they provide just great insight. They tell you how much the deal is worth today. So is it even worth buying this deal? Or could you take your money and go find something else? It looks at your borrower budget, and then it gives a target ARV. You can even see the value curve in the lower left corner. So if you spend the lowest amount, this is what the property lift to. Spend a little bit more, it gets a little bit higher. And you see those in the renovation strategies on the right side as well. Title work is important. Same with insurance. We let you select your own insurance and title company, but we just want to make sure that it covers the property in the event of any loss. We want to see articles of organization. We don't have any seasoning, so you could have a freshly created partnership. Operating agreement and signing consent. You have a mailing address, EIN letter, driver's license, credit and background. So I'll get the question from time to time that what is our minimum credit or minimum background? Central Lending doesn't have one. We want to understand that you are a reliable handler of capital. And we see that through your credit score. We see that through other prior loans you've done, and certainly other prior real estate deals, if you have any. Experience is a good thing. We want to know that you've done this before. We want to know where you're located. So do you live in a different state? We'll still lend on those properties, but we expect you to have a reliable team on the ground. Some red flags that we look out for. We are refinancing from one bridge loan to the next. A seasoned contract. Why has the contract been out there for a few weeks or even a few months? Rapid high price appreciation. Was the property just purchased last month for $10,000? Is it trying to be sold again for $100,000? We'd want to know why it's gone up in value more quickly than the market has. Excessive wholesaler markups. So we work with a lot of wholesalers. We actually don't have a cap on these, but we want the markup to make sense. Non-arm's length transactions. Example of this would be a relative selling a property to another relative. We do allow those, but we needed to be disclosed up front. And then we would lower the leverage on these. So it makes sense that we're not overextending a loan on a property. Entity gymnastics. So we'd want to make sure that everybody associated with the deal has a clear reason for being there. And the biggest thing, and this is what I train the sales team on, is can you explain your deals in 60 seconds or less? A good deal sounds like, I found a property for $100,000. I'm going to fix it for another $50,000 and sell it for $250,000. That is a good and profitable deal. Any questions on our underwriting before I get into our leverage ratios? For our leverage ratios, we put some thought into these. A loan that has leverage too low wouldn't be beneficial to the borrower. A loan that has leverage too high would be too risky for the holder of the loan. So we try to find that middle road that both sides win. So we factor in the cost to the borrower, also the loan as is value. We look at the start of the project ratios as well as the end project ratios. That would look like an ARV and an as is value. We also want to know what the borrower is actually putting into the deal. And we've come up with these formulas. Loan to current costs, that's how much you've spent so far. Loan to value, that's a commonly looked at one. Loan to cost is probably one of our biggest indicators. Is how much is the loan, how much are you going to pay for the deal? And based on that, how much will we loan? And then loan to after repair value, will the property make a profit based on the market and the budget you provided? We do look at credit score. We do look at background. Borrower experience helps. We're pretty forgiving. We give you a combination of total rentals owned, flips completed in the last 2 years, as well as ground up projects. But if you're doing a special project like a ground up, we want to know how many other ground ups you've done prior. We like local market experience. We see a better correlation with investors living close by their properties, not all the time. Geographic restrictions, so we will lend on rural markets. Some lenders shy away from that, but we're happy to do so. And then a renovation ratio. So if you buy it for $30,000 and fix it for $100,000, that's considered a lopsided ratio. And then values compared to the median values. So is your property going to be the nicest house on the block? It might be. Every neighborhood has the nicest house. But from a lending perspective, we like to see properties that are very similar. There's a lot of comparables for it. And then source of down payment. Where's the money coming from to get this deal done? Liquidity and deal profitability. So what happens to your loan once it's submitted? Well, we start with a loan request. And at the end of this session today, we're going to go into MILO, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. Right away, it's evaluated by our deal management team. So we have a sales desk that looks at the contract. They look up the property. We're not plugging it into an algorithm. We just use our eyes and see what makes sense based on what's selling around this property. We might decline it right away. We might qualify it, and we send it on to our team. And from there, they'll collect documents and they'll validate the current data. Or they might send back to deal evaluation. They might have a follow-up question. But we work very quickly. A lot of lenders might take weeks to make it to a loan committee. We think you should get an answer on yours right away. We can approve the data and push the loan through to closing. And that brings us to some of our properties. So we're going to skip this today, but let me pull up a fresh session. Let me pull up MILO and show y'all what that looks like. And we'll love some interaction here. I see a few viewers in. If you have an address of a deal that you'd like us to look at, go ahead and put it right there. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to pull up the Central Lending website. So centrallending.com will bring you here. This is where you can submit your own loan. Past loans you've submitted appear down here, so you can see the stage that they're in, qualified, quoted. Then I'm going to go up here to a new loan request. Anybody brave to put a loan in? Okay, not a worry. I'll go ahead and pick one. So we're going to call this a fix and flip loan. For your entity, it helps if you have one to enter, but if you're really just trying to get some rough terms, or you might be a loan broker, I just use a generic one. I call it Main Street LLC. So you enter an entity, you enter the guarantor's name, email, and phone. Let's see, I'm in Chapel Hill, so let's call this 123 Michael Jordan Way. Have to give a shout out to the GOAT, of Tar Heel basketball. And we'll go 27518. So on this page here, this is just basic deal data. It's a fix and flip, either to sell or to rent. It's not a refinance. I have the state that I have here. Property type is 1 to 4. It's not rural. There's no debt on the property. They're going to buy it for 200. They're going to fix it for 50. Be worth 350 afterwards, and it would even make a profit, $100,000 of gross profit. I'm going to fill in my credit score here. Fill in the number of rentals they own. They might have 3. They might have done 5 fix and flips. And then for ground ups, they've done none. They're thinking about it though. So here are your leverage ratios down at the bottom. You can pick this top one for the highest leverage, and your fee would be 1.25. Or you can pick this lowest one down here, a little bit less leverage, but it's a lower fee. Lower rate and lower fee. So it's up to you. Let me choose this top one. This gives you your monthly loan payment, total loan amount, and your interest, and then your approximate cash to close right here. Then you're going to start your loan. Great. So our loan has started. And again, at this point, we're really just trying to see what the terms might be. If I decide I want to move forward with the loan, then I would complete each of these sections, provide loan details, property details, fill in our rehab budget, have a borrower and guarantor info, as well as our agreements. Fill this in right here. Also, if you are a loan professional like a loan broker, you can add yourself as the account executive or the loan broker. You can share this link with other loan brokers, and as they enter new deals themselves, you will be able to receive credit for them. So that is unique to the market, being able to configure fees. Also, if you go to, let's see, I believe it's right here. Yep. So under your administrative tab, you can see who the different users are, the hierarchy management. We have our loan sizer that shows all of our leverages and fees. So a lot of interactive tools. You can register somebody, send out links for people to sign up under you. But that's a very high level view of MILO and all of its functionality. But this month we are running a promotion for people who try this out. Every day I'm picking names and whoever fills in a home app or a home address with their application. So they've gotten a little further into the contract. We'll pick one winner and we'll send a $100 gift card. Just pick somebody from Lakeland. Had a couple winners from Wisconsin last week and some other places, but would love the people on this call to give Central Lending a try. And for submitting a full loan application, we'll even pick one winner each day to send a $100 gift card. So make sure you put your mailing address on there. But that's all I had today. I don't see any other chats. Camilla, do you see any chats? Questions for today? I don't see any questions from Camilla or the chat. So I wish you all a great rest of your Wednesday. Thank you for taking time to join today. We'll be doing this next month. We're going to stick with the second Wednesday of each month. And we'll be looking to probably how to get deals done more quickly. That's always a question I get back. So we'll take a deeper dive on how I can get my loan underwritten more quickly. But thank you all for attending and have a great afternoon.